Hello everyone, and welcome to today's virtual session on enterprise agility, the present and future. I'm the host for today's session, and my name is Neetu Singh. I'm a certified safe agilist with over 9 years of experience across multiple IT domains and majorly in sales and pre-sales roles. Before we start the session, and I just inform you about what all we are going to cover today, some do and don'ts for the session. I request all the participants to please keep yourself muted and keep your webcams off throughout the session so that the speaker is not disturbed. And you can ask your queries in the chat box to everyone or to me, Neetu Singh, and that will be taken up right after the session is done by the speaker. And the other thing is that if any of your queries are not answered, just don't worry, it will be answered through email. So you can just type your queries on the chat box. Okay. Today's session is from 10 to 12 p.m. We are having 3 speakers today. So the first session is from 10 to 11. So this will be around 10 to 10:35 plus 15 minutes of Q&A. This is on enterprise agility, moving towards becoming a purpose-driven enterprise with Jile tool. So we have a speaker, Utpal Vyas, today who will walk you through this. Another session, so after this, we'll have a 5 minutes break at 11:55, and we'll again start, 10:55, and we'll again start at 11. And another session will be from 11 to 12 with 2 speakers. So we'll have a customer's, client speaking on Jile. So this is a Tata Steel Agile transformation journey, how they have come up with Jile. So we have Smita Chandra on that. She'll take 15 minutes of session on this, and followed by a session on the topic saying to the future of remote working. So how we are managing our work from home culture, right? The speaker today we have is Lalita Chande. So she'll be taking up that, and then followed by a Q&A on that. So let's start with our very first session, which is the enterprise agility, moving towards becoming a purpose-driven enterprise with Jile. Okay, so speaker today we have as Utpal Vyas. So he's an enterprise agile coach, a practitioner, and a delivery owner with 21 years of experience across multiple technologies and business domains. So he'll walk you through all these aspects of this particular topic today we have for the session. So over to you, Utpal.
Yeah. Thank you, Neetu. I welcome you all. Good morning. So today we are going to talk about enterprise agility for a purpose-driven organization and how Jile will help you in achieving that. So let us start with looking at what makes an enterprise agile. So what is an enterprise to begin with? So if we say that we have various teams within the enterprise, then those teams, if we put those teams together, then that will form an enterprise. But is it the only thing that where the sum of all the teams becomes an enterprise? So let me present the quotation from Aristotle. So what he said was the sum or the whole is something beside the parts, or you might have heard the variation of it, which is the whole is greater than sum of its parts. But the original statement was whole is something beside the parts, right? So what this beside means? So if we look at the entire statement that he made, we will be able to get more contextual understanding what he meant by something beside. And so if we look at that statement, it says that in the case of all the things which are consisting of parts, right? So the whole is not just a mere heap. It is not when you look at the enterprise in totality, it is not just teams put together, but there is a common cause, there is a purpose which is binding all them together. So there is a viscosity which binds all these teams together. So that is what we are also seeing in today's enterprise. When an enterprise wants to become an agile enterprise, just making or putting up agile teams is not sufficient. They need to be bound together with a common cause, with a common purpose, and that brings them together, and the result, the outcome, the whole is something beside the parts, right? Just when you put several agile teams and they are working towards a common cause, common purpose, versus they have visibility to what they are trying to achieve as a whole. So that brings a different meaning altogether. So that is what we are also going to see in the example that I have set up in Agile. To before we go into that example, let me just show you what are the different options that we have in front of us. And by the way, both these options are possible to set up in Jile. But what we are going to see is there is a certain recommendation. You will be able to see different outcome in different options. So one option is traditional, where you have organization led by CEO, and there are various function specific departments. For example, marketing, sales, operations, research and development. And each function is expert in their own department. So these functions which are reporting to CEO, so these individual functions will be concentrating only on their expertise, and they will be working on, say, various initiatives. But when we are going to look at, say, one certain initiative or several initiatives, we'll not be able to get that holistic view of one initiative or one particular objective at a time. Rather, it will be the presentations which are being made to CEO, or the connects which are being made to CEO, are going to be function specific. That as a marketing, as a department, this is what we have achieved in last month, last quarter, and so on, right? Rather than the kind of organization objective or organization purpose, they will be focused on their individual purpose. So what is the other option that we have in front of us? What is the other kind of organization that we are seeing? So this is the other kind of organization that you can see, that it is again having being led by CEO, but then it is set up in such a way that the outcome of that organization, or the purpose that they are trying to achieve. So each unit is purpose led, or each unit is having a clear outcome in front of them. So for example, if we take bearings or tubes or wires of smart fabrication, so each of them will require marketing, sales, operations, R&D. It is definitely going to be there. Individual purpose driven or value centric department will not be able to exist without these functions. So we are not saying that functions are not important. Functions are important, but when we are creating these units as a cross-functional unit which is reporting to, say, enterprise head, then it becomes or the outcome they are able to produce is entirely different, right? Because now they are outcome centric, they are purpose driven, they have a clear value to be delivered to their customers. So now let us see how we are able to set up something like this in Jile, and then we will also talk about other aspects of this kind of enterprises. So the first step that you will do in Jile is going to be your setting up your enterprise. And what Jile allows is, Jile allows you to set up your enterprise. Say, for example, if I set up a new workspace and I want to set it up my enterprise in such a way that it has, say, multiple levels, right? So all those things I will be able to set up with by choosing my yeah. So what we were seeing in that example was CEO has various departments which are actually purpose driven, or they are having their own value stream. So smart fabrication, bearings, tubes, wires. So these are your units of your organization which are having clear purpose or clear value in front of them. So let us see how they will be able to be led by their purpose, all right, or how they will be able to stay focused on their purpose. So to do that, what we are going to do is we have something called management by objectives. Right? So you might have heard of these terms that when an organization is being led by functions, like the first option that we saw, this one, the CEO is having various functions reporting to him versus these kind of purpose driven or value stream centric units. So these units would be having certain objectives. So that is what we call it as management by objectives. So there are two variations of it. One is you can either set up objectives and key results, or you can go all the way up to objectives, goal, strategy, and measure. So in OKR, we are not saying that we are not going to strategize or we are not going to measure. Both the things in both the options, we are going to do very similar thing. It is just the terminology which is different. So how do we set up either objectives and key results or objectives, goals, strategy, and measure? So let us again go back to our example of say steel industry, and there is one unit called smart fabrication. So what kind of objectives they have in front of them? The smart fabrication as an independent unit which is delivering value to their customers. So what they are focusing on is they are not focusing on only what they themselves are going to get out of it, but they are rather focusing on what their customers are going to get through their offerings. Right? So what their customers are going to get, this is a hypothesis in the beginning. So they will start with benefit hypothesis that this is what something that their customers would get if they start using products of smart fabrication. So the customers will be able to put the fabrication 30% faster, like all the say you are constructing a building, and for constructing a building you need to create a slab, and in that slab there will be reinforcement bars, right? So all those bars, if you are doing it on site, or you are creating that fabrication on site versus you are using the product of smart fabrication, then you are going to save 30% time. You will be 30% faster. Similarly, you will also save 25% of the labor cost. Right? So these are all hypotheses in the beginning, which will be validated when we go forward. So the third one could be you make a design in such a way, and the fabrication will be done upfront. You will be able to optimize your design and use less steel. So there will be 15% less steel utilized. And again, the fourth one is if you are doing the fabrication on site, then there is bound to be you will order a certain amount of steel, and all of that may not be utilized. So there could be say wastage. And assuming 5% wastage is there. With smart fabrication, the aim is to make that wastage zero. So these are the benefit hypotheses that you would start with, and then you can consider these as your objectives and key results, or objectives and goals. Right. So how do we set up these objectives and key results, or objectives and goals in Jile? So let me go to this smart fabrication. Which is one of my unit which has a clear objective or clear purpose in front of them. So if I go into the objectives of smart fabrication, so as you can see that they have this objective of faster construction at lower cost is the overall objective they are starting with. And if I go into detail of that objective, then I am able to see that there are certain key results, right? So the key results that I started with as a hypothesis, benefit hypothesis, are also listed down over here. Fabrication time saved, and reduced labor cost, reduced steel requirement, and eliminate steel waste. So these also I will be able to clearly articulate and capture in Jile. And as we move forward, as you can see the check-in button. So through this check-in, you will be able to, as a business owner or the sponsor of this particular product line called Smart Fabrication, you will be able to validate on the ground that how much time, fabrication time is being saved against my benefit hypothesis of 30%. If I am able to save, say, 30%, 25%, or 35%, whatever I am able to save, I will be able to log my actual results also against the goals that I have set up. Right? So as we were seeing, there are a couple of options: OKR or objective, goals, strategy, and measure. So this is measure is what we are also able to see in Agile. You will be able to measure your actual outcome against your hypothesis with which you are starting. So when you are starting with your hypothesis, so this is what you want to achieve, right? But to achieve this, what you need to do. So you don't need to go anywhere else. You can do everything in one place. So Jile becomes your single source of truth. So to achieve your objective, you can actually come up with your strategic initiatives, or sometimes we call it as epics in Scaled Agile Framework terminology. So epics or your strategic initiatives. So you will come up with those that to achieve my key results, what all things that I need to do. So you will be able to create all your epics, and against each epic, you will be able to divide those epics further into the capabilities as well. And so let me go into one particular epic, and then we'll be able to see, say, within this epic optimal design templates. So what are the different capabilities that I need to create so that I am able to achieve my um, strategic initiative? And that strategic initiative is aligned with my organization unit's goal, right? So ultimately everything is aligned towards my value or towards the purpose. And these capabilities can be further divided into features and so on. So as you can see that right from your objectives to epics, so capability to feature can be further broken down into stories can be further broken down into tasks. So there is a complete traceability, end-to-end traceability from what an individual is doing at the task level, or say some validation in terms of testing or fixing the issues. So all those things are related back or tied back to your purpose or the value that you want to deliver to your customer. Right, so that is what we will be able to do in Jile. And once you have determined that, okay, this is my overall backlog, then the next thing that you want to do is you want to set up your roadmap, right? How you will be able to achieve all the epics or features that you have laid out in front of you. So you will be able to create these various say time slots. I can create program increments or release schedules in terms of monthly or quarterly, something like that. So what I will be able to do is I will be able to set my short-term goals, mid-term goals, long-term goals. So I have clear roadmap in front of me, and that roadmap what I will be able to do for each roadmap item, I will be able to do the planning in terms of take uh, the things from let me just adjust this window. Yeah, so here I will be able to see my overall program increment or release schedule, and I will be able to take the things from my backlog. Say my backlog, prioritized backlog is there, and prioritized backlog, then I will be able to take items from prioritized backlog into my release backlog, which is nothing but my schedule, shorter schedule of say 1 month or 1 quarter, something like this. So that I will be able to create, and I will be able to see the progress of that schedule, how I'm progressing once I have planned all my activities. So that is also something that I will be able to see in terms of how many features I had planned to be achieved in that certain time frame, and how much I have achieved so far. How many stories I had put up. How uh, my estimate to look like how many story points worth of work I had, and then I will be able to see certain charts as well. Burn down, burn up. Burn up will show you how your scope has changed over a period of time. Say in case some additional things were added in your scope, that would be visible through your yellow line, or some scope was removed. All that scope change would be visible to you. And then how this gray line will show you your actual progress versus your red line, which is your commitment. So your committed versus delivered, you will be able to see for your release schedule. So that way you will be able to see all these things in Jile. So what we were talking about was management by objectives, right? So when you set up your objective and key result, those objective and key result then are further broken down into smaller entities in terms of features and stories and tasks. And then once as those are being catered, or as they are being marked as completed, then you will be able to validate, or you will be able to go to market and see whether the hypothesis that you started with, that whether that hypothesis is turning out to be true, or you need to make certain adjustments in your strategies, or you need to, it is quite possible that you might have to adjust your goals also, adjust your key results. That is also something that you might have to do sometimes. But all these things, who are actually executing all these things? Is this uh, being done in such a way there is somebody who is leading this overall program, and he is just he or she is directing all the team members, all the teams, that this is what you do at this point in time? Is that how it is working out, or there is some different way that today's organization, purpose driven or value centric organizations are working? So let us look at what is which is the era that we are living in, right? So we are living in the era of knowledge workers. So knowledge workers, you will not be able to simply assign them work and then expect that they will be able to complete that work, whatever it is assigned to them, right? So they are having a different motivation, what we call it as intrinsic motivation. They are not just motivated by, say, their role and remuneration. So those are external motivation, but in addition to external motivation, they have certain intrinsic motivation, which we are seeing over here. So what are those three? Autonomy, mastery, and purpose. Right? So autonomy, how we want to give them autonomy. Right? So couple of examples. Say when as a business sponsor or as a subject matter expert, I have set up some certain strategic initiatives that this is what we need to do for our smart fabrication product. Right? So when it is broken down into various features and stories, who is doing estimation of certain features or stories, right? So is it being done by one particular leader and then team needs to follow it? No. So there is an autonomy given to the team, given to knowledge workers, right? They come together and they tell how much time it is going to take, or if they have a certain better suggestions uh, as far as overall architecture or design is concerned, they also are allowed to bring that in front. And so there is certain autonomy is given to them in terms of how they want to plan it out based on the estimate. And obviously priority is decided by subject matter expert, but uh, after that, when how it needs to be planned, in which particular week what all things will be taken up, that autonomy is given to these agile teams, right? Again, the second aspect is mastery. So what kind of people we are bringing together? So the people that we have brought together are actually having right skills. They are mastering what they are doing, right? So we are also making sure that in addition to autonomy, we are bringing the people with right skills. They have expertise about the job at hand, right? So that is what we are talking about cross-functional teams. The people which are forming a team, so they are not continuously looking outwards. They already have mastery within their team about all the things that they need to achieve. And the third thing which we are consistently talking about is purpose. They are aligned to certain purpose, certain outcome they want to achieve for their customers, right? Not just for themselves, but they are doing something so that they can benefit their customers. And once the customers are benefited, then obviously, see, if there is a certain product line from some smart fabrication, as long as the customers are benefited, they will be coming back to this particular organization, and they will be buying more and more products of smart fabrication. So that is what these knowledge worker are looking for, right? Autonomy, mastery, and purpose. They want to get some autonomy. They know that they will be helped in terms of upgrading their skills. If they need any help, then organization is going to back them up, and they are also going to be given transparency towards the purpose. It is not something that just because you are told to do, you are doing it. They know why they are doing it, right? So the why part is also very clear. So how Jile will be able to cater to all those requirements? So whenever you are, say, doing your release planning, you are putting things into your release backlog and all those things. So it is done by your autonomous teams. Like teams are getting input in terms of priority from the owners, but based on their capacity. They have done the estimation by themselves. Somebody else has not done estimation for them. So whether it is a single agile team who is doing their sprint planning, or it is team of teams who is doing their program increment or release planning, there is certain autonomy which is given to them, and they are actually working together. They are working towards a common cause. So when they are doing their planning, they are not doing their planning independently. They are all coming together and making sure that their plan is aligned towards the purpose or the roadmap that they have created for themselves, right? So uh, and also they are not continuously bothered about providing say status update back to their leaders. All this information is transparent to anybody who is onboarded, so including business sponsor, portfolio managers. Everybody is able to visualize all these things, which team is working on which task, all the way up to individuals, like which individual is working on what they are currently testing out, what all issues that they have raised so far, and what is their overall sprint progress, either at the individual team level or team of teams, the rolled up view of all those things. So that is what is uh, given via these tools. So team is not spending their valuable time in putting together all the different kinds of status reports and presenting it to customer, their executives or managers. Executives and managers, they have access to all this information because this is your single source of truth. So let the knowledge workers focus on their work, and this entire management by objective, since they are also aligned with this objective, and the people who have set up the objective, they also have visibility into fine grain items, so all the way up to task and test issues, all those things. You are able to manage it very effectively, right? So Now let us see if we have achieved all these things. We have set up organization objective. We have aligned everybody to that objective. So is there anything missing? What we have taken care of is we have taken care of people aspect. We have taken care of process aspect. We have also taken into consideration tools and technology. So what is missing? What can go wrong after this, right? So we need to see when we look at process or technology, it is going to stay more or less unchanged. Like once you define a certain process, you are you can rest assured that yeah, everybody is going to follow that process. Once you decide on a certain tool set, certain technology, you can also rest assured that yes, it is going to be followed. But the people aspect of it, right? So when you look at people aspect, people is actually not just people. It is consisting of autonomy and mastery and purpose. So any of those things, if their autonomy is taken back, or if they are not having right skills, or if they are not having visibility towards the purpose of the organization, then it is very easy for this set of people to become demotivated, right? So what we are aiming for is we want to keep this entire set of people which is forming the enterprise self-motivated, and that is what is going to create with this beside part. We in the beginning we talked about the whole is something beside, right? So that beside, whether that beside is there or it is just a set of teams put together, so that is the difference that you will see between an organization which is actually truly agile enterprise versus the organization which is struggling to become agile. So agile enterprise will be able to produce something which is beside the parts, which beside the enterprise will be able to produce something that agile teams. Right? So with this, I would like to take a pause, and then if there are any questions, I can take those up. Yeah, Neetu.
Okay, thanks Utpal for the wonderful session on Jile, tool managing the enterprise agility. So there are a couple of questions which are posted here directly to me and everyone. So we'll take those questions. First is that, is Jile available on premise or cloud?
Yeah, so Jile is available on cloud. It is hosted on Azure cloud, and it is a multi-tenant application. So once you register for Jile, you buy Jile licenses, you will get your own tenancy, and so you will get something like if you are say Tata Steel, then Tata Steel.jile.io is something will be your own tenancy.
Okay. The next question we have is, how can we link requirements and maintain traceability in Jile?
All right. Yeah. So let me share my screen again. So traceability is very important aspect of I mean that any organization needs to make sure that they are not just setting up objectives and different requirements and so on, but whatever they set is completely traceable, and there is an end-to-end traceability maintained, right? So one aspect is maintain the traceability of requirements themselves, right? Epic to features to stories. So that traceability is straightforward. Whenever you set up, create your epics, under the epics, you will be able to see your capabilities, or features under features, you will be able to see stories and so on. And in addition to that, if I say go to my release progress. So let me So when you go to release the progress, you will be able to see these export certain export options, right? So these export options, what they allow you to do is they allow you to track your requirement to your testing activity to all the issues that you have. So for example, I have a certain feature which team has picked up. So against that feature, what all feature testing activity which are planned, out of which how many are pass or fail, or how many are yet to be run, all that detail you will be able to get in that one single spreadsheet. So that becomes your traceability metrics. You will also be able to see how many issues have been opened so far, how many are still open, or how many are closed. So that summarized view, if you want to go into detail of all those things, that what is that issue, or if a certain test case has failed, then which step of the test case has failed, or what kind of description, or what kind of actual result you got against expected results. All that detail you will be able to see via these traceability metrics which Jile provides out of the box. You can also create your own custom reports in Jile. So creating custom report is also straightforward. You just click on this configure menu, and then say inside my reports, I want to create a tabular report. I can just click on plus table. I select the right entity. Say I want to get reports from the features point of view or stories point of view, and then I can drag and drop the columns that I want. So that is how I will be able to create my custom report also very easily in Jile. So traceability metrics, out of the box traceability, and if you want something in addition to that, you can create your own custom report. So that is what we have made available in Jile as far as requirement traceability is concerned.
Okay. The next question we have is, can we scale up from project to enterprise level here?
Absolutely, yes. So Jile is providing you completely configurable and scalable architecture. So you can, for example, just start with a couple of levels. If you have started with a single program consisting of teams, and then later on, when you want to say scale it up to multiple programs or multiple portfolios, so that is something that you will be able to easily able to do in terms of creating different layers in Jile. So this is what you have in Jile, that different levels of your organization can be set up as different work areas. And as you can see, the final layer, you can term it as execution layer, under which you will have teams. So you can have as many levels of hierarchy you have in your organization. For example, you can have at the top level, you can have enterprise, followed by industry units, followed by sub units, followed by operating units, followed by your different programs, and then teams. So 6-7 layers also is possible. Say for example, an organization like TCS, right? So a huge organization will not be able to work in just 2 or 3 layers. They need to have more layers. So as many layers or as many levels of hierarchy you have, you will be able to set it up in Agile.
Okay. The next question is, OKR data would be entered by customer?
Yeah, so OKR, what we are recommending is you will have people who are sponsoring this particular program, or this particular set of people, right? So they have clear objective while setting or while sponsoring the program. So they are also onboarded onto Jile in form of say key members or business sponsors of at this particular level. So let me just show you an example of that you will be able to onboard people not only in terms of team members, but in terms of your key members as well. So all those key members can be your business sponsors, or people who are uh, subject matter expert, anybody, right? So all those people will also be there on Jile. So they are ideally going to set up your objective and key results, and they will also come back and check in their results. Like you were able to see that check in option against the key results. So when I have my key results, it is not just that I'm setting up a key result and then I'm going away. I am continuously evaluating my outcome, as we were seeing over here, that it is objective, goal, strategy, and measure. I need to continuously measure also. So when I have objective and key result, it is not just setting up the key result, but checking the key result, the actual outcome against the key result, whether I am able to achieve my key results or not. So this check-in is also something which is usually done by the sponsor or the person who has set up these objectives and key results.
Okay. Another question is, I am managing a 5 months project as a Scrum Master and following Scrum framework, but there will be only one release in terms of go live at the end. How can I manage the release schedule in Jile for this kind of scenario?
Yeah, so you can create, if you do not have ability to break it down into smaller time boxes, you can create just one release schedule, or creating release schedule is also something optional for you. It is Jile does not mandate you to create a release schedule, and then only you will be able to create a sprint schedule. If you have a small project that you are executing, and if you are convinced that just by looking at my various sprints or iterations, I will be in control, then you don't need to create a release schedule per se. You can go with creating iteration schedule or sprint schedule. When we recommend creating release schedule is you have a certain goals in terms of your shorter time frame, right? Every month there is a certain goal that you want to achieve, and that 1 month you are going to further break it down into, say, weekly sprints. So then you can create two different kind of time boxes. So that setup is also something which Jile allows you to choose. We can choose whether you want to just go with when I'm going to see this way of working in Jile. It allows me to select whether I have release schedule and iteration schedule both as my plannable entities or plannable time boxes, or I want to just go with iteration schedule. So this flexibility you have. Similarly, you can also have flexibility of choosing which all types of backlog items that you want to create. You want to just create features and stories, fine. You can uncheck all these other things. Similarly, like objective and key result, Agile does not mandate you to do that. You can very well start with features and stories if you do not have those objectives and key results laid out. But we recommend that if you have that in front of you, it will actually motivate your team by aligning them towards a common purpose.
Okay. The next is, can you just show a sample in Jile where value flows from goals, epics, features to stories? That is end to end. I think they're talking about the value flowing and traceability end to end.
Yeah, so let me just show something from, say, CEOs or enterprise point of view. At the enterprise level also, I actually can set up objectives. And when I go into that, any of that enterprise objective, what I will be able to do, I will be able to track that objective, so that traceability is there. If you look at this particular objective and click on, I'm having some, let me just move it towards the left. Yeah, so when you click on this track objective, what you will be able to see, you will be able to see how much of this objective you have achieved, and what how many features you have planned to be achieved in this particular objective, how many story points. So end-to-end visibility you will be able to see in this objective tracking. So right from your objective to your the ground level activities, you will be able to track using these out of the box dashboards. And as I said earlier, if you would like to see something in your own way, you can create pivot tables by creating these kind of custom reports in Jile. So Jile custom reports allows you to create pivot tables. You can also create custom charts in Jile. So that way, there are quite a few options as far as tracking the end-to-end right from objectives to your team member level work is concerned, so that complete traceability is maintained in Jile.
Okay. The next very interesting question is on the dependency board. So I've seen many of the agile tools are not managing the dependencies across team very well. So he's asking, how about tracking dependencies on program and dependency board? How it is done in Jile?
Right. So dependency is also available. In fact, out of the box, you will be able to see dependency management also. Let me just go to one program. If I say I'm going to smart fabrication program, and within that I have this release which is going to be multiple teams are going to participate in this. And so, for example, these Avengers, Believers, Fighters, Thinkers, Transformers, all these teams are going to participate in this. Then what I have available over here is this next to plan that you see, you have this dependency board. Somehow I am not able to move this right panel, which is overlapping my screen. Let me just see if I can minimize my screen.
Okay.
Yeah, so over here, when I'm going to this clicking on this dependency board, I will be able to see dependencies across teams, across iterations in this kind of visual format, and I will be able to see if there are any no planning conflict. That means everything is fine, or this there is a red line. Right? The red line means there is a planning conflict, and then how these user stories are planned by these two teams is actually going to result in a conflict. It is not well planned, or there could it is yet to be planned, and in that case it will be unresolved dependencies that you have not planned. So I don't know whether it is going to be right planning or not right. So there could be two stories which are yet to be planned into iterations, and in that case it will show up as an unresolved dependency. So in this way, you will be able to visualize your entire dependency board across teams, across iterations in Jile. So this comes really handy whenever you have cross-team, cross-iteration dependencies.
Okay. So you have multiple teams and multiple iterations and dependencies are managed between them. Okay, this looks good. The next question we have is there any plan to integrate Jile with Jira?
Yeah, so what we have is actually we have partnered with Coware has a product called Omnibus. So that Omnibus provides us that ability to um, integrate with these industry leading tools. So Omnibus is in fact having connectivity with 110 plus tools, and Omnibus sits between these two kinds of tools. So that adapter of Omnibus it will have, say, Jira on one side, Jile on another side. So that way you will be able to definitely connect. So and we can work with you to understand the exact use case and demonstrate that connectivity via where so you can get in touch with us to explain the details about your use case, and we'll be more than happy to showcase you a demonstration of that kind of integration.
Okay, so if anyone is using Jira and they want to use any other tool like Jile, so we'll have the integration available. Okay. So the next question is, looks like Jile is modeled after SAFe. Any other model intrinsically supported? So I think they are talking about some other industry Agile frameworks Jile supports.
Yeah, so you can set it up the way you want. So there is a complete flexibility. What we have provided over here is, or the one particular example that I was showing was modeled based on SAFe or Skill Agile framework. But you can actually model it based on disciplined agile or large scale scrum, or you can set it up in your own way, right? So Agile does not restrict you to use a certain framework. You can, say, for example, you want to set it up in as per Spotify model or your own model. It doesn't matter. You can set up Agile structure the way you want. So that way it is completely configurable. We are providing some pre-configured way out of the box, but that is not all. You can do it in your own way. So it is completely configurable.
Okay, and just a question from my side. So how people can go ahead and buy Jile? Like, what is the licensing model about it?
Yeah, so for that, you can simply go to jile.io, and on jile.io, you can get in touch. You can click on this try now, and try now, you will be able to get your trial, or you can directly get in touch with us in terms of requesting a demo, or getting in touch with our sales team via contact at jile.io. So you can write an email to us, and then we will be getting in touch with you to take it forward.
Okay. All right. So I think those are the pretty much questions we had for today. So maybe we'll break for around 6 minutes, and then we'll come back for the second session. So see you all in another 6 minutes. We'll exactly start at 11. So thanks, Utpal, for the wonderful session. Yeah.
Thank you all. Thank you, Nitu.